Hello and welcome to the Rise and Ride show, the space for horse riders who have lost their confidence but are ready to find their joy again. If you've ever felt nervous in the saddle, you're not alone. We've all been there, and this is your place to feel seen, supported and inspired to rise again. Each week we'll explore simple, practical ways to rebuild your confidence, reconnect with your horse and fall back in love with riding. My name's Katie, I'm from Align and Advance, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started. So this week we are talking about something big. It is feeling judged. Isn't it horrible? Isn't it horrible when you feel judged? Oh my gosh, honestly. It's like a constant theme, isn't it? Through the horsey world, you can feel judged when you're at home, riding, like if you're on a big yard. When I say at home, I mean like on like a livery yard or something like that. You can feel judged when you go out for competitions. You can feel judged when you're just riding down the road and there are cars coming past you and going, why the bloody horses on the road? Because there are not enough bridleways. That's why we don't want to ride on the road, particularly. So yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Really, really hard. So many riders experience it, and some talk about it and some don't. But I'm pretty sure that like everyone I've spoken to has experienced it at some point. It's that feeling of like, are you doing things correctly, and are you a little bit of a fraud? Sometimes you can feel like you don't quite belong, like if you're going to a particular show or event, and you can feel like you're not quite good enough to be there, or you haven't got like the right type of horse. You can feel like people are watching you. God, I hate the people are watching you type thing. And like any moment, people are going to realise that you don't really know what you're doing. We can all feel like that sometimes. The thing is, it isn't about your ability. I see it in riders of all levels, from like complete beginners to much more experienced, capable, professional, knowledgeable riders. They all feel this at some point. So it is completely normal. I was just going to tell you a little story about a show that we went to last year with the kids, and it wasn't like a particularly big show or anything like that. And I was riding, so my daughter was going to take Toby into a ridden class, and it was his first ever showing show, and he was he was a really good boy actually with the in-hand classes, and he did really well. And then when it came to the ridden, obviously there are lots of people being ridden, lots of horses being ridden in the warm-up. And there were lots of like piles of jumps and stuff at the side of the warm-up arena. And he was just a little bit nervous, a little bit tense. And it gets like a little bit busier feeling when it gets to like the ridden classes. And so I said that I'd get on him first, and I'd just like ride him until he felt relaxed and everything, and that we'd just sort of work on getting him relaxed for a little while before my eldest daughter got on him. And so I started riding him round, and there was this other horse in there. Oh my God, it was just so lovely. It was just an absolutely gorgeous horse. And there was a woman about my age riding it round as well. And again, like me, not in show gear. And she was doing that, like this, it turns out when I spoke to her, she was doing the same thing, which was kind of like a little pre-ride for her daughter before she put her daughter on the horse. And we're riding round, and then like when you get into the warm-up ring, people look, don't they? And they're sort of like eyeing up who else is in there. And it was little Toby's first show, and he's our baby, but he's no flashy show pony, and this horse was lovely. And when the lady slowed down, I sort of rode near her, and I said, I just got to say like how beautiful your pony is. was going around there so nicely and you're riding really nicely and everything. And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And she said, I'm riding around here like for my daughter, doing the same thing that I was doing. But she said, oh gosh, it's really hard, isn't it, when you first bring them out and they're a little bit spicy and everybody's in here and everybody's watching. And I said, well, yeah, I said, I was watching you. I said, but I was thinking that you were just doing amazingly well and that your horse was gorgeous. And just like, I just saw her go, oh, like that. And I just thought, it's so funny, isn't it? Like, I was watching her, but I wasn't realising that maybe she was thinking that was a negative thing. And I felt a little bit bad afterwards because I thought, oh no, perhaps she thought that at the beginning I was being really judgmental, but I wasn't. I was just thinking like how lovely they looked going around. And then, yeah, after like 9 out of 10 times, after you actually speak to people, they are actually very nice and they're just feeling exactly the same as you. But like that moment when you like come round and come into the warm up, it can just feel like quite overwhelming. Anyway, that was just a little side note story that I thought of about like that sort of feeling. But when you are like feeling judged, a lot of this comes down to like how aware you are of yourself. Like you're analysing what you're doing, you're thinking ahead, and you care about doing it right, and getting it right for your horse. And ironically, that is kind of what creates the feeling of being judged, but it's you that's judging. So like the trap of comparison, one of the biggest triggers for comparison is that you look around and you think like, oh my gosh, they look so confident. They're not overthinking like I am. But what you don't see is what's going on in their head. So just like the story with that lady, I was looking at her thinking, gosh, like this is our first showing show and I'm just trying to get Toby round with all 4 feet being where they should be. And she was riding around and just looked wonderful. But she was feeling the same as I was feeling, even though everything on the outside was going so right for her and everything was just looking so great. So what you don't see is what's going on in the other person's head. As most riders are so good at hiding it, especially if they're going into a show situation, because you're just like, everything's fine. So feeling judged is a big one. Sometimes people do have opinions, don't they? They're not always helpful, but they sometimes do, but not nearly as much as your brain thinks they do. Most people are far too busy worrying about themselves. And I say this to my kids all the time. So like my youngest, she has got a real problem with events at school where they do like, so at Christmas they did like a carol concert. And she was really concerned because she said, oh, it was the whole of her year group. And she said, all of the parents are going to be there and they'll all be looking at me. And I said, no, it's only me and Daddy that will be looking at you. All of the other parents are looking at their kid because people of no one, not being rude, but no one else has come to see you. Only us. And everyone else, and we've seen you practice this over and over and over and heard it over and over and over. I said, so everyone else is there to look at their own kid, not you. People are selfish and that's good because, you know, no one else was there to watch my little one singing a little heart out. That was the cutest thing in the world, but they were watching their lovely little child sing their heart out. So people are often too busy worrying about themselves. And when like you, just using the warm-up arena situation again, when you come round into the warm-up arena, people will look because they want to see like what they're up against. And like the better you do, the more they're looking, because like if you go in and like me and Toby that day were just like a little bit all over the place and spooking at like things at the side of the arena and stuff, they're just going to think, well, they're no threat. It's fine. So they'll leave me alone, you know. So they're only looking at you normally as a reflection on themselves rather than like really putting you down. So it's kind of like quite helpful sometimes to reframe it like that. So a few steps to take when you are feeling like this. So like bring it back to yourself, like stay in your own lane. Also, when you notice these thoughts creeping in, bring it back to, what am I doing right now? What am I actually doing right now? So let's just carry on with the warm-up arena. I am just warming up my horse. You don't need to look at what they are doing and what they are doing. Obviously, in a warm-up arena, it is a little bit intense sometimes, because if it's a busy, not very well run warm-up arena, then you need to like stay out of the way of other people. So you do need to be a tiny bit aware of what other people are doing. But like they could be cantering around. Well, I'm not at that position yet. I need to walk around for a while. I need to let my horse kind of settle in. Do I need to get off? Do I need to lead for a bit? You know, you don't need to worry about how you look. You need to just worry about like how your horse feels. And if you just think about, I often just sort of think I'm in a lesson, because I obviously try my hardest when I'm in my lessons. If you just kind of like imagine you're in the lesson and imagine that your instructor is standing in the middle of the arena, and just kind of ride as if you're in that lesson, just kind of really focus on your breathing, really focus on your horse, and focus on doing the best for your horse. That's all you can do in any given moment, is do the best for your horse. And then you will have something to focus on rather than all these other people that are whizzing around. Try to lower the pressure on yourself. So a lot of imposter syndrome comes from feeling like you've got to prove something. But it's like, although riding is a performance in the fact that like we're using the warm-up arena analogy, but you are like allowed to have wobbly days. You are allowed to go to a show and not do as well as normal. You are allowed to take things slowly, and you are allowed to figure it out as you go. So you I always say to people, like, when you are going to a competition, try and give yourself plenty of time. I have arrived late to so many competitions in the past through like various things happening, because there are so many moving parts, aren't there? But try your very, very best to give yourself enough time to be able to really take it step by step. And even if you like go into the warm-up arena and it's like mad busy, try and give yourself lots of time so that then you could like come out and then like go back in when things calm down a little bit, because people will whiz round for a while and then they'll all kind of either go into their class, or they'll say, oh, I've done enough now, and then they'll just go and stand around like with their horse. So just try to give yourself plenty of time, because then you can get into that space when it's like a little bit less busy. So I've mentioned anchors before, but they can really help, because you can practice anchors at home and then they're exactly the same when you're out. So if you are using like breathing as an anchor, so it's taking like certain breaths before you mount, or like a touch as an anchor, so like touching your horse's withers or giving them a scratch on the withers and things like that. And then like as you're doing it, you're saying something in your head like, I've got this, I am safe, I'm capable, because you can do those at home, that they'll work in any situation, because as soon as you do that anchor, it will just help that spiral of overthinking, help you bring it back into you. To be really honest, confidence isn't about never feeling unsure. Sorry. But it's about not letting that feeling completely take over. So we're always still going to feel unsure in certain situations, because there'll always be new situations. Not everything is always going to remain the same, and especially as, like, if you are the kind of person that competes, you're going to go through different levels, and also you might try competing in different disciplines, so there will be different things to overcome. But if you've got like a toolbox that you can kind of go, right, okay, I can recognise how I'm feeling right now and I can take these steps to fix it, then you can go through those levels with ease. It'll be absolutely fine. So if you've ever felt like you don't belong and you feel like you're being judged, just know that it is so common. And actually, the people that you're feeling judged by, normally they've sort of felt the same in the past as well. And those people, they're not, even if they're watching you, or you feel like they have criticised you. So if someone has actually, is a bit ballsy and has actually said, like, I don't think you do this very well, you could be thinking about that, like, as you're lying in bed trying to go to sleep, thinking, oh my God, they didn't think I was very good. They're not thinking about you. They've said it and it's gone, and they are not thinking about you. You like, it just you can just make it bigger and bigger in your head. When I coach people, I've kind of got ways that we can sort of, the moment that happened, minimize that moment. But that's what you need to be aiming to do, is that moment if you have actually been openly criticized, because it is horrible. You can do like so many things right, and then one thing happens. It's like if you're a kind of person that like posts on social media regularly, people can be like, oh, that's brilliant, lovely comments all the way down, one horrible comment, and that's the one you're thinking of, because our brains are wired to detect danger and detect and keep us safe. So then that makes you go, I'm not going to post on social media again, that's really dangerous, that made me feel bad. So you could have had a really great ride or a really great day if you were, using the show thing again, or you could have won your class or whatever. But if one person said one negative thing to you, then that could be the thing that you're keeping hold of. But just know that they're not keeping hold of it. It's just unfortunately affecting you. So it's using tools to kind of minimize that and be able to get over that comment or that like negative feeling. But none of this is a sign that you're not good enough. You are good enough, and you are enough. And if you're here and you are doing, like, listening to things, taking steps, doing things to kind of make you a better rider, make you a more confident rider, make you more aligned with your horse, you're a good egg. Do you know what I mean? So don't let it really bring you down. Like I say, it will happen and you will feel bad about some things, but it is about minimizing it and rationalizing it and knowing that you are safe and you are okay, because all of these bad feelings that come up, it is your body like saying that I'm not safe, but you are, and it is putting tools in place to be able to feel that way. So all it means is that you care, and that's a really good thing for your lucky horse. So yes, carry on being you. Thanks so much for listening. Take care. I'll see you next week. Bye.